everyone, I'm Zishansha and welcome to Z Interactive Premium tutorial of the retro television. So we have created these picking handles, and now what I will do is that on the right handle I will create a panel, okay, where I will put some buttons. So there will be a panel, like a side panel on which we will create a button, but I will remove I will move these two frames, like the wooden panel and basically that side handles apart, and and before them I will create this side panel. So it will the side panel will come first, and then the rest of the other things will be there. So that's why I have moved them a little bit away. So I have created this shape with a transform, and I added a blend node, and I have added this transform to the blend node. So now I will just remove the tiling from it and reduce the size of this one. Okay. And you can see that disappearing. So I will just move it so it will show on the side here. Okay. So I will just find the place where I want it. So let me scale it down more. Okay, so what I will do here is that I will take this transform and put it on to the opacity mask, but it's not affecting. That's one thing. Let's take this this shape, and first adjust the size of it. And let's put it where we want it. I just wanted to start from the starting from the handle, like from here. So this is where you can see this handle is starting. So from here I will start it and I will put it down. So this panel will be over here, and inside the panel gap there will be buttons. So this is where I want it. And let's increase the size of this shape, and now I will move it where I want it. Okay, so here I will add another node here, the blur HQ grayscale. So we can have soft corners. Instead of square, I want it to be soft, on like a curved on the corners. So I will just increase the quality, reduce the intensity, and this much will be fine. And I will add levels to it. Put it up here somewhere, and I will play with the settings here from the top, so it can have sharp edges instead of blur edges, and this sort of effect I want it, but I want to reduce its height. So this will act like a frame of the panel. To extrude it, so I have to reduce the height depth. seems right. So what I will do here is I will put a blend node here down, because what I'm going to do, this blend node is uh, like the one that I created. I will be adding the previous one to it, and I will subtract it. Okay, so what this will do is that this will subtract this panel from the wood, so the wood will not be over it. So I will add another blend node here, and I will add to it. Okay, and these I will take, copy paste, put them here. Okay, so I hope you know like what I did down there. I just want to subtract this from the wood, so the wood material won't be on this frame, because I want the frame to be more plastic instead of wood style. So now I will take the whole thing, copy paste, and like put it on another blend and use subtract. Okay, why? Because I'm going to subtract the same thing with the smaller size, so it will make it as a frame. So levels, I will increase it here because I just want to subtract it, so I can change it later on. And I will change the size of this, the one that I copied, and you can see that it is creating a frame sort of effect. The same box I'm subtracting, but with a reduced size. So I will get something just like this. So I will just adjust the size, so I can only have the frame there. It's all about the size. And also blur, I will work with the blur so that it won't be that curved, because the curve is not conforming here. I will just play with the settings of the intensity so I can have lesser version of it. And also here I will play with the settings in the on the top of the levels. I can have more smoother, and I don't want it to be too deep. I will just bring it back in, and I will adjust top part here in the levels so I can have a little bit sharper the gap. Okay, so now you can see that let's do some changing in this in the size here so that we can adjust the size. Almost there. Yeah, looks fine. Okay, I'll go with like thinner frame. And in blur I will reduce a little bit more. Oh, no, it will not create something. Let's increase the blur and adjust the size. I'm adjusting the original shape size because I want a thinner frame, not a thicker frame. But at the same time should look good also. So if it is too thin, it looks like really awkward. Oh, not too thin, not too thick, just something in middle. Because as thicker you will make it, it looks more stylized. And I don't want it to make it stylized. I want to be more realistic. Now on this panel, we will have to have the buttons. So panel is ready. Now we need some buttons, a little bit it. And now what we are going to do is that let's do some changes here. Let's make the size a little bit change. I have changed like the width of it. I made it a little thinner because I don't want it to be thicker. Like not the frame, I'm talking about the overall, um, you can say like the panel itself. Now let's add another blend node. So we are going to create buttons. So let's make some space for the buttons. I'll change it to add so I can see what's going on. So I will add a shape node here and I will connect it to the blend foreground and I will change the shape to disk and reduce the size of it. Let's zoom out to see where I have it. Okay. So I will add a transform 2D here and absolute tiling mode, no tiling. So we can reduce the size the way we want it. I'm just reducing the size from the transform, but it's ideal to reduce the size, the original one, and move it only with the transform so you can have a good like much more better quality. Otherwise you won't have a good quality, but for now let's do this. So I'm just creating the button here and you can see the wooden panel is on it. As soon I will move inside, the wooden panel is not showing because it is subtracted from the wooden panel. So let's try to put it in a nice position. So like a niche spot for it. Trying to move it from the keyboard, but it's taking too much time. Let's move it with the mouse. I think it's better to move it with the mouse. Okay. So I think it's fine. Now let's add another, let's add a FXAA grayscale. What is FXAA? What it does is that it fixes the outline. If it is rigid or there is no anti-aliasing on it, so you can apply it. And then I will add a blur HQ to make it even more smoother, so it won't look rigid from the side or from the size. I'll up the quality, reduce the intensity to something like a little bit appropriate. And then I will add levels here to play with the levels, like the settings of it. And plus it's too like it's extruded, like extrusion, the height is It's a lot. So I have to reduce the height, depth, and plus I have to set up the button itself. So it's a retro television. It's a very old television, so buttons were like sticking out more. Unlike the right now, the buttons that we have are like barely sticking out. So those were like toggle buttons, like push and you know like press to push in and then press again to pull it out. So it was like a toggle switch. So I'm just setting it up so it looks more clear. And I will increase a little bit intensity of it, not too much. Oops. So we are almost getting there, but it's too huge. The size of the button is too huge. Let's decrease the size of it. Okay, let's reduce the size even more. As bigger you will make it, it will look more stylized, and I don't want that sort of result. So I will reduce the opacity a little bit, or the intensity, or the levels, the white amount a little bit more, because I don't want it to stick out more. So it's the levels again. It's all try and error, just like you have to spend some time just to make it look nicer. Let's increase it a little bit more. Let's see from all the sides how it looks like. Plus it should be in the middle, in the center. Now let's do one thing. Let's add another node here. Let's add a mirror grayscale so we can mirror it down so we can have multiple version of it. You can press D on your keyboard so they can be collapsed or docked to each other if you need more space, but right now I'll keep it as it is because the nodes sometimes when there are a lot they are quite uh, annoying, so that's why you can dock these nodes to on each other. So I'm just looking for the right value for the axis here, x-axis, because on the UV it is on X, but on 3D view it is on Y. So we have to go with the UV. So we have to use the axis x-axis. So we're getting there. I just want one button in the middle. Let's see how we can do that. So I'm still looking for the right value here. Okay, so let's move this to make a good space. Let's add a blend node here. So what I'm going to do is that I will just put the mirror on this blend node, okay, on the foreground, and add the one which is with the level with the mirror on the background of this blend node. Let me arrange the space here. Okay, and I will use add. Okay, now you can see it went down, but the top button, the issue is that it is on top of like it is like the top button is like two buttons on top of each other, so the level value is increased, so that's why it is more sticking out, others are not sticking out. So I have to add blend node here, put it on the foreground, this mirror scale, and I will use the crop area values here. So I will crop the side. So I will use left and right and see which one should go better. Yep. Yeah. So now I can move it closer or far away, but let's keep it as it is. I don't want to change. A little bit I will if I have to. Otherwise, no need to move it. Let's push this a little bit more far away so we can have more space here. So I'll add a blend node, another one. And I will add a shape here, disk shape. Reduce the size of it. And I'll use a transform here and put it in the foreground and choose the subtract value or add, sorry. And I have to change the tiling mode from absolute to with no tiling. So what I'm going to do right now is that I want to create a shaft. It's a little hard to see the bounding box. Let's go to the transform because on the gray the bounding box doesn't show. I hope in future uh, versions they solve this issue. So let's take this one, put it here. So what I will do now, I will change it to later on subtract. But before doing that, let's work with it. Let's add blur HQ, and then I will increase the quality. I will reduce the intensity of it so it won't be that affected. So 0.3, 0. Or 0.0, I think 0.05 will be fine. And let's add a levels to it. But before doing that, let's add a FXAA grayscale to fix the edges around it. Now I will add levels. And here I will reduce the white amount, the level output high, so I can have lesser value there. And I will fix with the sharpness of the edges from here. But keep in mind we have to subtract it, but right now I'm just fixing it and later on I will subtract it. Just want a nicer, soft looking result. And now I will subtract it. See how it will look like. I will reduce the levels here. And plus this button is a little smaller and we are zoomed in a lot, so don't worry if it looks a little bit more rigid, like not smoother from the corner. If you zoom out, it will look fine. Now it looks fine, and I have to repeat this for the other buttons too. So let's increase the size of it. So this is fine. I think we have to add some more stuff to it, like we have to mirror it so it can be displayed on the other buttons too. So let's add another node here. Let's add mirror grayscale. And let's change some values here. So what I will do here is that temporarily I will just make another level node here, so I can see at least what's going on. So I will just unplug the levels so I can see what's going on in the mirror, because it was too dark and it was too light, so I was not able to see it. Just see. Okay, it's working fine. So I plugged it in. I just disconnected so I can at least see what's going on. Otherwise, it was too dark to see what was going on. So what I will do here is that I will make another blend node. Okay, shift it to the foreground. You have to press shift key on your keyboard, then move it to the foreground. If you want to move any nodes, press shift and then move around. Then I will put this new mirror grayscale inside the background. the same trick so I can see at least what's going on. So I'll mirror it. And change the x value here. And that's okay. This value is fine. 0.86, and now I will plug back the levels here. Okay, now they all look fine. So we got buttons with this shaft over it, like gap, whatever you can see, like a cap or something on the buttons on the top. Sorry. So yeah, looks fine. What I will do now is that I will go back to the original shape here and try to do some changes in the size. This is the frame, the button panel frame, the original one. Because I think it is too thick, so I will just reduce the size of it so it will look more thinner. And the inner frame, the inset size also I will play with, so to make it a little bit more thinner instead of thicker. Okay, now I think it's fine. Let's see from on the other sides, all the other sides. Okay, let's take the transform here and let's thing. Let's move a little bit up or down just to find the right spot. Okay, in this way, if you want to write anything like a text over your buttons, you can have some space on the top of the button, so you can write whatever you want. In this tutorial, I might skip writing this. I will write on the front panel, but not here. Let's make a frame here. Add a frame. And it's a little hard to grab you to zoom in. Okay. I'll add a comment here, because what I'm going to do is that I will make a like a panel opacity mask here. So this will be the side panel opacity mask. That basically what I will do is that I will just divide them, then I will make the opacity mask. So just this will be the side panel, and this will be the side panel, I think the shaft or inset, whatever you want to call it, or gap. These will be the buttons. Okay, so I will write here side buttons. And these, I think, will be the side buttons cover or gap, whatever you want to call it. So I will call this side buttons, let's see, shaft or gap. And this will be the opacity mask. Will be side panel opacity mask. Side panel mask. Write it. Opacity mask or just mask. Okay, so if you want, you can write the description, or I don't want, I just want to write the title. So this will be side panel. Okay. Looks fine from the sides. Okay, so we are done with this. Now we'll move to the other part from here, but just let's see from all the other side, from close up and everything, if we need anything here before moving to the next part. I think for now it is fine. Oh, okay. So now what we are going to do is that we are going to create, we have all of our, we have this whole side panel. So now what we are going to do is that we are going to create the opacity mask for the side panel in case if we need it for albedo or uh, like metallic or roughness map. So let's add a level to this one. The main panel, make it a little bit sharper and white more. This is the main side panel, so I will, oops, I was about to create a comment, so I will add a comment here, and I will name this side panel opacity mask. Okay, now I'll do the same thing here. I will take the levels from the blur HQ. Like I will just copy paste. Before also I copy paste it because I don't want to create another one, so I'll just copy paste it and change the settings here. Here this should be opacity mask, like shaft gap opacity mask. Oops, I changed the original one. Should go down, this should go up. Okay, here these are the buttons. Create a levels. From here I have to create a new one. I cannot copy paste here. I will make a new levels here, and then I will just squeeze this to get complete button. And I will add a comment here, and this will be the side buttons opacity mask. Okay, and I will do the same thing here. Okay. And I will rename it to side buttons shaft gap opacity mask. So I hope you have learned something from this tutorial, from this lesson. And I thank you a lot. Thanks a lot, everyone, for joining my premium membership plan. And thanks a lot for joining this lesson. I'm really thankful to you all for supporting me, and I hope to receive your support continuously. I have noticed that many of you are watching my videos but not have subscribed to my channel yet. So please subscribe to my channel and also click the bell icon so you can receive all the notifications I'm about to create. And I will be uploading soon new good content, great content. So if you have liked my video, so please hit the like button. And if you have any queries, questions, then leave them in the questions in the comment section below, and I will answer them as soon as possible. And one request I have, and that is, I have noticed that some of the viewers do not watch my videos online and instead they download them. So please, if anyone is doing this, and if you find someone doing the same, then please stop them, because this will never help me to get my hard work paid off, and it will demotivate me. So I don't want to stop making tutorials for you all. Therefore, help me to get new subscribers. I will take off now, everyone. Take care, guys, till we meet in the next class. Stay safe, stay healthy, and keep learning on Z Interactive, your own training institute. Training